Each person in this life has a story to be told. Sometimes when we see people laughing and smiling, we think that they are happy in their life, and we don't know how many obstacles and pitfalls they have been experienced or are still passing through.
I'm the oldest person on my side of the family, and I really don't have any family other than my daughter. I think that we all struggle in some way or another. Personally, as far back as I can remember, I've struggled. The pattern with abused women tends to be, if you were abused as a child and you grew up with this, you'll marry into abuse. I was told I was no good, I would amount to no good, I would never be any good, and nothing good was ever going to happen to me. How many more no goods can I get? As a child, you tend to want to take care of kittens and puppies, or birds that you find that can't fly, little things. You want to take care of your grandma, your great-grandma. You want to be that helper. So that caregiver nature in you continues to develop as you get older. I drew as a child. However, I don't think paper was always available, so I covered the walls up pretty good. They would have to paint my bedroom quite often. It was also an escape, because I could go off and go drawing and nobody would bother me. So that was, a place of safety too. I went through, and I can't even remember, countless schools growing up. When my mother didn't have the need to have a child around, I would be shipped off to maybe one of her brother's families or something to live for a while. So I would go half a year at this school, maybe half a year at this school, maybe I got to go out of state to 2 different schools and then come back to somebody's school. So it varied. My dream back then was to stay in one place and to go to one school for a whole year. I did graduate the 8th grade. I did graduate high school, and then I went to college. I was offered a scholarship to go to college to be an art teacher in the school that I mostly attended as a child, which I thought was wonderful because it allowed me to go to college, and they paid for it on a scholarship, and that's the only way my mother let me go. And I continued my education 10 years after I graduated into nursing, and graduated nursing in 1988. I remember my grandmother's house. I don't remember my mother staying there. She never wanted me to go to college. She didn't want me to succeed in a world that she couldn't control. So I didn't understand that I had choices until I was an adult. I really don't remember much of her at all, because Mima was my mommy until later, or my mother would get mad and then she would beat me and correct me. I'm your mother, I'm the one that does this for you and does that for you. And So I think that's when I learned that I had to be this way with her, and then I could be this way with somebody else. I had to be two people. I had to be the person that my mother expected of me and demanded of me, and then I was that other person that knew I was okay, or that I would be okay. You know, it's not having a dual personality. It's more like protection. I'll be whatever you want me to be. I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. I'll do whatever you think is correct. But in my own mind, I know that this is not who I am. I'm structured for something else. For all intents and purposes, my mother to everyone else was the perfect mother. No one could believe that this woman would hit me or call me names or try to get rid of me. When I was pregnant, I went to go stay with my girlfriend because my mother would have probably hurt me again. And it was safer to stay with her than it was to be at the house and grow a belly. After the baby was born, my daughter and I, we stayed with my grandmother. So I had support from my peers, you know. I didn't have support from my mother. Really something phenomenal to see someone break the chain, or a child develop the initiative to put that armor on and have, no matter what is said to you, no matter what is done to you, you protect that person inside until you can grow up and get away from it. So psychologists find it very strange when someone comes out of growing up in a dysfunctional family or a family of alcoholics, that they can balance this life. So I think it's one of those things where you want to get away from this, and you don't have the money to run away, you don't have anyone to run to, and you think that if you could somehow just disappear and, disappear to a young person is death. Because that means you don't come back. It'll all go away. You can't. What's the worst that can happen? You hurt one more time, but then you don't hurt anymore. So suicide would be your friend, not an option. And then we always thought that you had to be a coward to die, to commit suicide. No, I think you have to be afraid to live, because you don't know what's coming at you day to day to day. I think it's your subconscious telling you that if you can just hang on for a little while longer, things will change. She's the first woman that I remember running to or being held by. I remember the smells in the kitchen when she would cook, And as a little girl, you know, she would let me play with the dough when she made biscuits. Being that mom, there's being that friend, there's being that person that you want to go to for comfort, you know. My grandmother was like that. So when I was little, I wanted to grow up to be like her. So hopefully I'm growing up to be like her. There was a period where I abused alcohol, and it was sickening, really, for me, because that was something that I didn't like. My limitations were very limited because I wanted to be in control of myself and my choices, because on the other side were people who had been controlling and making choices for me all my life. So that influence alone was enough to keep me away from, you know, abusing alcohol or abusing drugs or being promiscuous. I think the hardest thing about growing up as an abused child is you know you're worthy. You make good grades, you're not in trouble. You do the things that are required of you, but inside you have these goals that you set for yourself. You know, you're not going to be like the person who's abusing you. You don't want to be around the people that abuse each other. You find that you want to have an education that provides you with a way to not only leave the location that you're in, but to survive for the rest of your life without all these other people. I think if there was any changes, it would be that she would have wanted me, or at least tried to love me as a child, a baby. Your abuser is gone. They're never there to look at you again. They're never there to tell you who you can't be. So now you've got this person that you've been protecting all your life, and they're free to breathe. And it is very different. When you've grown up abused, you're always looking for some sort of affirmation that you're worthy enough to be loved.